Okay. Monica, you are good to go.
All right, so this is the first time that I've done something like this. So I'm just calling to order, going through and calling the meeting to order. Perfect. So we'll call the meeting to order at 3:30 on the nose. And we'll take roll call. Myself, Monica Boyle, I am here. Position 2, Steve Owens. He is here. He is waving at us.
Am I supposed to say here?
Yeah, it's preferable if your audio.
And then position 3, Robert Hansen with Visit Walla Walla.
Here.
And position 4 is Kristen Taylor with Walla Walla University.
And she did request to be excused.
And position 5 is Dr. Cherish Current from Vacation Rental Property.
And I'm here.
Okay, perfect. So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the agenda for today and the minutes from this meeting last year?
I will move to accept.
Second.
Okay, so moved. Okay, so for reports, we have the lodging tax. Let's see. I'm gonna switch out my screen really quick, you guys, so that I can get in here and see these. I needed to have my glasses on to read. And so bear with me for a second because it's all just too teeny on my screen. And I can make it big. All right, so the attached report shows the total funds received for lodging tax during 2021 with the estimates for the final year totals. So let's see. And then am I giving these reports? Is this just so I understand, am I delivering these?
I can, if you would like me to.
That would be great.
I ran them, so.
But just I would say I went over them. I know what they say, but I'm not. I mean, this is the first one that I've given. So if you want to read them, that would be great.
Okay. So what we ended the year last year with was 26,000. So that was our beginning balance in the fund for this year. To date, we've received almost $19,000. We expect just under 2,000 more for the next rest of the quarter, which will leave us with $46,862.60 is expected to be our end fund balance at the end of this year. We have spent $13,000 this year. If you guys remember, last year you approved $10,000 towards the Light Up the Avenue infrastructure, $3,500 for the Fort Walla Walla. I guess I can show you the exact expenditures in here. Then we had our advertising for, which was the request for proposals that went out in the Union Bulletin and on social media. And then there's just some banking costs that bring that total to that. We do not expect, other than maybe some additional very minor banking fees, we don't expect any other expenditures this year. This group originally set a policy minimum to keep 6,600 or 20% reserve, which this year we expect to be around 6,600, which leaves an estimate of 26,565.80 available to be distributed in the budget for 2022.
Lisa,
Yes.
question on, this is kind of LTAC 101, and we probably mentioned it way back, but at meeting once a year or whatever, I forget things. Is there a maximum reserve? I mean, in other words, are we required to spend a certain amount of this?
Not that I'm aware of.
Just curious.
I can look into that just to make sure, but I don't believe so. And I believe I saw Tara shaking her head no too. And
Yeah, I don't think so.
no.
Okay.
I did have another question. So thus far, we've required applications, but we haven't required reports from who we grant to. That's pretty unusual, at least in most private granting. How typical is that for city grant or grants coming from city funds?
We actually do require grants or require reports. So far they've gone to council. I guess I should have had them come to you, but the reports for 2021, the Fort Walla Walla actually reached out and asked if, since their year isn't over, they don't really have their full report. They do their report at the end of the year. So he asked if it was okay for him to do that, to submit that after they completed the year. So what I can do is I can send that out to you guys once we receive it, and then I'll set it into the documents for the next meeting that we have.
And do you have the report for the Freedom Festival from last year, or did we grant to the holiday light thing? I can't remember exactly which.
We for the 2021 budget, we granted originally for Freedom Festival, which ended up being canceled. And so we moved that granting to the Light Up the Avenue, which we spent the full $10,000 on lighting equipment to add to poles, the additional snowflakes, that sort of thing. We actually spent well more than the $10,000. The city kicked in the rest of it. I didn't pull that report on that, or that payment exactly. The expenditure shows right here. And then I'll have like actual photos and audio visual that I can provide to you after we light up the avenue.
Yeah, I understand. Because we keep getting the same request, and I'm curious about impact of funds that were distributed. And I know when it comes to like last year, everything was irregular, including, I'm sure, for the museum in terms of attendance. But I am curious to see whether or not the intended impact of the grant is actually happening in terms of the report to close the loop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one thought is to, on their current year applications, is to put the impact of the prior year project on the current year application so we can see a comparison. That's what a couple municipalities in the area do.
Okay, that's good information. Maybe we'll revise that application to add that. Are there any other questions on the reports?
No. Okay. And then next is the request for proposals. So it looks
Which
like,
was-
Yep.
Oh, that's the affidavit. It doesn't show the actual ad very thoroughly.
yeah. So this is the ad that'll go out.
This is the ad that did go out, and
This-
it's what what the response when the city application came in and the Fort Walla Walla application came in.
Okay,
We're responding to this ad.
okay. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the request or the proposals or that receipt? No? Okay.
How did it work last time? I mean, did we get more proposals from that ad?
No, I think, and this is just strictly my personal opinion, I think at this time we just aren't giving out enough money to make it worthwhile for some other agencies. I think as soon as we have our first hotel and are really having funds that can make a big impact on something larger, like, I mean, we make a big impact on the city's events. I do know that. But I just think it's such a small drop in the bucket that they're spending their time pursuing larger possibilities.
Mhm.
But that is my personal opinion, so
Yeah.
doesn't make it right.
Getting close to being real money.
Yes.
You know?
So Lisa, because this was, I wasn't part of this process last year. So where all did this obviously went through the UB, and then is this put social media on the city site and all of those as well, I'm assuming? Is that how those all run? Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else have any more questions? Okay. All right, then we will move right along to the regular agenda. Fort Walla Walla Museum application. Okay.
So has everyone had an opportunity to look at their Fort Walla Walla's request this year?
I reviewed it and I'm happy to make a motion that we accept and grant their request for $4,000.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so moved. And then we have,
We need to have a vote on it.
okay. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, passes.
Thank you.
Okay, College Place events application for Freedom Festival, and then being rolled into, so this is what we rolled into the Parade of Lights, right?
Last year.
Last year's dollars. And
We're,
this
we're
is
giving
for
it a go
22.
to request it
For
for Freedom
22.
Festival for 2022.
Okay,
So
okay.
and I have more knowledge about this one if anybody's got any questions. What our plans are, or
Great big huge fans so that when it's 118 degrees, we don't have to cancel.
Ice buckets.
and it will actually be on July 3rd this year.
Oh, nice. That's perfect. Great.
Or not this year, next year.
Next year.
I do have a question related to the budget here. So if you look at the expenses under lodging tax, it totals to $12,500 and the request is for 10.
That was my mistake. When I
Okay.
completed the request, I originally had 10 in there just because I copied over from the previous form I had used.
So the request is for 12,500.
It is. I am so sorry. Clerical error.
Can you talk about the live entertainment in terms of expenditure?
We, in the past, well, last year, it was going to be 5,000 to 5,500 for the band. And they were going to play from 7 to 10. And this year we're hoping to maybe get, not only I've put out the request to that band, Whiskey Creek, to have them again. But we're hoping to get maybe some entertainment for the hours before they start playing. So we're expecting them to maybe everything's gone up. So we're kind of expecting it to be a little bit more expensive this year. So in all aspects.
Okay. Any other questions?
I move we accept the proposal at $12,500 from City of College Place.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Okay, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. And it passes. Okay, and funding recommendation to the City Council. Let's see, do we have,
We kind of took care of that since we did
that's
the
all done,
motion.
right? Okay, great.
So
And that's it. Does anybody have any other questions before we adjourn? Look at us fly right through there in 20 minutes. No other questions?
Well, Lisa, remind me and us again how will we do this again if we get more proposals that come in? Is that how this works?
the proposals were due by October 25th, I believe.
Okay, so this is all for
So
the period
this is
that
all for
closed in
this budget
2022.
season.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
So the money for 2022 has just been allocated.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
All right.
And all it
Right.
needs is a council confirmation. And since this fund can't be used any other way, then it's highly unlikely, and Monica can, she's on the council, so she'll be speaking towards that if they've got any questions.
Okay, yeah. Last year being so weird, I was confused at what stage of the game we were at, but I got it now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I should ask, would this group like to meet sometime earlier in the season? Like to discuss the application and what we want to do as far as advertising, because that's certainly an option for you.
I don't think it would be a bad idea. Just, I mean, even just another 30 minutes so we can kind of all see the application, make sure that if there are those pieces as far as adding, you know, the question about how funds were used previously, if ever granted before, those kinds of things, I think that would be a good idea.
I would
Okay.
agree. Yeah.
I can do that, and then I'll have all of the reports from grantees
Mhm.
in that meeting as well. So
Great.
usually I've got that on my calendar to have that, get that prepped in August. So July sometime, July, August, maybe
Convene.
I'll send a doodle poll or something and see what works for you guys.
Sure.
That'd be great. Thanks, Lisa. Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. And Lisa, do we need a motion to adjourn, or are we able to? Yep. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Well, good.
Okay, we're all good. Meeting is adjourned at 3:49. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks.
your help.
Thank you.